there. Beautiful. Okay, guys, thank you so much for coming. Thank you so much for taking time out of your day to join in. For everyone who's watching afterwards, thanks so much for taking the time out of your day to watch this. So essentially, this webinar is very much billed as from setup to success, mastering marketing events in HubSpot. So as many of you know, HubSpot actually started out as a marketing tool. Started out as an email automation platform. Now it's really developed into a full service CRM. But this is really a lot of the stuff. This is where the core of HubSpot really came in, and being able to create marketing events, drive traffic to websites, being able to get more people joining the content that you're doing. And so I'm really excited to show you how HubSpot can do this for you. If you're playing along at home, essentially, as one thing in this webinar is I'm going to be going through a lot of things very quickly. So if you're wondering, it's like, why am I flying through landing pages? Why am I flying through forms and not showing you how to do those things? Reach out if you need some assistance with that, but this is really to just give this high level of how all these assets can come together and you can have a fantastic marketing structure. And the other thing of this is this is for if you're on marketing professional or above, this webinar is very much tailored for you. If you're just on the starter version, there's going to be some features that you won't have access to. So yeah, really everything from in terms of the automation campaigns. HubSpot Pro or Enterprise in terms of your marketing subscription. There's other things that you can do with the starter version, but you won't be able to have everything that we're going to go through today. So without further ado, I'm going to take you through it. And so we're just going to start off by really splitting this into two parts: the foundational setup and then automating the hell out of everything. And so that's something that I want to really show. If there's any Q&As, we'll have some time at the end for any questions from that, and you can feel free to send through stuff. If you're accessing this via YouTube or anything like that, feel free to put some questions in the comments and we'll get back to you. And then essentially we can go through how we can help you guys. If there's anything in particular that you want to know, or you've seen something today, you're like, oh gosh, I want to get this going for my business, what we can do for you there. And then our next webinar, which to be announced. And so just a bit about myself. My name is Ed Frame. I'm the founder of Exemplify. We are a HubSpot partner based here in Australia, and I've been personally in the HubSpot ecosystem for about 10 years now, using HubSpot portals every day for lots of different wonderful clients. And essentially what we are looking to do is really help businesses improve their marketing, sales, and service, growing that, making sure that everything is streamlined across the business so that you can do more and automate more and put more time back in your day and see more business growth. So without further ado, let's begin. So in the chat, what I want you to do is just write down of have you ever ran a webinar like this or any sort of event, and you've used HubSpot to do, any of your kind of your invitations or your registrations and signups. Let's get the chat going and see how many people have kind of done that previously. Not yet. Okay, that's good to know. Good to know. Awesome. Hey, Al, nice to have you. So
Hi, everybody.
All good. And then so in terms of that, have you ever used the campaign tool? So this is, if to actually even share my screen, this is this little wonderful thing over here called campaigns. So primarily what I see a lot of businesses doing and what a lot of people do when it comes to their own marketing, creating events within HubSpot, they do a couple of manual emails, maybe a couple of automated emails. They use the landing pages tool if they have their landing pages connected using lists and forms. But in order to get the best use out of HubSpot, there's a couple of tools which I commonly see people not use and optimize. And it's essentially using the campaigns tool, using the marketing events tool, which I'll go into that, and also a new beta, which is just about to come out around that. using workflows, integrating and connecting apps, leveraging email automation, landing pages, lists, and forms. So really what we want to do is really help you to understand like what are the, and kind of going back to our agenda, what's the setup that needs to be required, and then what are the automation templates that you can use. So I'm going to jump in and out of this slide deck as well as kind of showing our portal. So we're going to go back into our demo portal, and as I talked about last week, all of this is dummy data, but we've got Travis Kelsey and Taylor Swift in here that we would quite like to invite to an event. And for this particular demo, I've actually not created any assets here. I'm going to just do this all from scratch, just to show you just how quick and easy you can do it. And the great thing about this is this might take you somewhere between 4 and 10 hours to do the first time. The next time you do it, you're going to be able to do it about 4 times faster because everything will be able to be cloned. You'll have all your assets. And so essentially, anytime that you spend creating this first marketing event for your business, the next one is going to be about 4 times quicker. And then the next one after that's going to be 4 times quicker again. So you're going to be able to leverage a whole lot of duplication and assets from previous campaigns. So the first thing that I want to show you is this marketing campaign tool. And if you haven't noticed already, if my if my HubSpot menu looks a little bit different to yours, it's because we're on a new beta. If you want to opt into it, I highly recommend it because I'm absolutely loving it. And so you can see here at the moment our campaign tool is empty. And so what we can do, and the whole point of campaigns is to really supercharge any marketing campaigns that you're doing. So you're wanting to build end-to-end marketing campaigns, launch and monitor, and as well as measure the performance of how everything performs. And I'll go into more depth around that in a little sec. So for the moment, you will see this start from scratch. And if you haven't got this beta, I highly recommend it. And if you want to ever opt into any betas, good place to go is just in your menu and scroll down to the product updates, and you'll find certain betas within here. And so for this example, I'm going to start and build a campaign. And HubSpot have been wonderful and very generous, and they've actually given a whole lot of different campaign templates that you can start to use. And because we've talked about a particular, in this with mastering mastering marketing events in HubSpot, we're going to choose a marketing event. So we're going to choose an online event promotion. And so if you actually use this template, we're just going to give this a title. I'm just going to assign it to myself, and we don't need to fill out anything, but you can see very self-explanatory. Give yourself a campaign name. What's the goal? What's the audience? What's the currency that you're looking to do? So this essentially, what this will allow you to do is then start to track any revenue in the future that might come off this campaign. So in this particular webinar, for example, this is free. This is, no one's paying anything to be here unless Leslie has told you otherwise. If he hasn't told me, and he's gone against the rules, but you should all just be here. But if there was something down the line that you wanted to purchase from us, we can actually track if this particular webinar that you've attended has influenced any revenue that we've done as a business. So this is where that real full circle of marketing to sales comes back in HubSpot brilliantly. So I'm going to go and create this campaign. What you'll be able to see here, HubSpot's actually going to give me lots of recommendations of what I need to do to build an online event. And so it's going to say that I'm going to need to build a registration form. I'm going to build a landing page. I'm going to need to build some emails. I'm going to need to build some CTAs and a pop-up banner. I can actually go in here and add social posts. I can run ads. And so the whole point of campaigns is the reason why HubSpot use the campaign tool. It allows you to use all different mediums to achieve the one goal. So it means that where historically without a CRM or without a marketing tool like HubSpot, you might be running some paid media ads to a particular campaign. You also might be running some social posts to a particular campaign, and you might be running some email invites from a list within your CRM or your database to run essentially to drive traffic to a particular campaign. But what you often find is with Google Ads, with social media, with email order marketing platforms, they will all try to claim the responsibility for what converted. So if somebody clicks on an ad and goes to your landing page, but then maybe they don't convert, but then maybe they see a social post 2 days later and then they convert, the social media side of your tracking is going to go, well, that's what made the conversion. But the paid media side will go, well, we actually caused the conversion because we bought the lead there originally. And so this is where essentially HubSpot allows you to add all these assets collectively, pull them into one place so that you can see how they all work together to try and drive the same outcome. So you can actually follow these steps here, and I actually highly recommend it. So in order to make sure that you're getting things done, so you can go here and you can create a form. And so the first thing that you can go and do here is, and then this will open up. We can go here and we can create a form, and because HubSpot is a wonderful tool, it's going to give us prime examples of an event registration form. So first name, last name, job title. If there's anything else that you wanted to add or take away, there's plenty of resources around how to edit forms and change forms and things like that. So I'm just going to call this online number one, and just to give it that. So we've added our form, and we can go back into our campaign. Just going to refresh this. And then essentially on our registration form, if we go here, then we can add that form here. So we've added this form. Now we can go build a landing page. Now we can go build email. And so this will kind of just be able to sort of take you through those different things. So, but what I really want to show you is a little bit more of the automation. So once you've built your landing page, you've built your form, and whether you're hosting your landing page on WordPress as well, like that's fine. You can always, you can come in. I believe you can actually add external URLs as well through a different way, but get your tracking code on there. But essentially here is where you can start to build different emails. And one of the reasons why I'm not going to show you through this is you can actually create what we call manual emails, but I want to show you 3 different workflows that we've used rigorously to really help build marketing campaigns on an automated level. And so the big thing with marketing campaigns is there's three things I want you to really understand here is, first of all, that there is fruit in the follow-up. So if we invite you to a webinar, we're going to send that to a list of people, and we're going to see who clicks on that. But what we often find is our percentage of registrations often increases when we send multiple emails. So being able to make sure that there's, a kind of a reminder invite to follow up with people. Or maybe you want to even use the scarcity tactic of, this event is going to happen in 24 hours time. Make sure you register now because this is the last chance to sign up. To do this with like manual emails in HubSpot is very much possible, but it can be a bit cumbersome. So I want to show you some automation tools that we can use to help you with that. The second thing is you want to make sure you're getting the right message at the right time. So make sure that you're messaging your audience to get relevant messages. For example, how many of you have ever received an invite asking you to sign up for something when you've already signed up? It's a really it just kind of shows like, well, this person isn't actually listening, that doesn't actually realize I'm there, and they're just doing a scattergun approach to their database. They're not actually looking for who's signing up. Or if you've ever attended an event, and for example, I know that there's plenty of people who have registered for this particular webinar who aren't here. And so we want to make sure that you're not getting a email that says, thanks so much for attending, because you didn't. But we do want to send you an email saying, sorry, we missed you. Here's the recording. And so this is where you can start to use HubSpot and the data that you know about certain people and within your CRM to be able to target messages correctly. And the third thing is multiple outreach. So this is where, as I said, with the campaigns tool, you're not just creating emails and seeing how they work. You're also using social media. You're also using paid ads. You're also using blogs, and you're using all different mediums that you might have working together to try and drive the same outcome, which is registrations to a particular event. So now what I want to do is show you essentially 3 different workflows that you can create within your portal to run a particular campaign, and then essentially how to just collectively build those within the campaign tool within HubSpot. So the first one here is our pre-sign up webinar. So I'm going to very simply show you, okay, you've got a list of people that you want to invite, you're going to send them an email, and then you're going to have a bit of a delay, and then you're going to send them another email. And so very simply, you want to make sure that those two people, it's going to go to this landing page. Then with our post sign up, so this is where somebody's actually registered. So they've gone to the landing page, they've signed up. We want to send them an email saying that you've registered. But then we also want to send them an email on the 24 hours before the event, getting them to sign up as well. Sorry, not to get them to sign up, just making sure that they're attending. And then finally, a post event. So who's actually attended this event? And so it should actually be an event itself. Who's been a thanks for attending, and then who's been a sorry I missed you. And so we want to be able to show you how you can use HubSpot data to be able to control these outcomes. And so one of the best tools to be able to do this is not only we have got the campaign tool, there is a tool called marketing events. Now, for some reason, and I don't know why, this is one of the most hidden tools within HubSpot. It's not here on any of the UX of the menu right now, for some strange reason. But if you go into contacts and you go down from contacts and you type in marketing events, and then here is actually where you can connect certain apps to be able to help with events. So if you're hosting an event on Eventbrite, for example, or you're using Zoom webinars to do events, or you're using GoToWebinar, there's a whole kind of different range of tools that that sync in with HubSpot here. These tools, if you're using them and you're paying for their kind of for example, if you're paying for Zoom webinars, we're not just I just want to be really transparent. We're not using Zoom webinar. We're just using an ordinary Zoom link. But there's extra functionality if you're paying for that premium service of Zoom. There's essentially a way that you can, where essentially you can connect those apps, and then data will actually fall in here to HubSpot. So if you've got a webinar, you can then see HubSpot will be able to show you who's actually registered for the event, who's actually attended the event, and who didn't attend. So it means that you can actually segment your market really easily going forward. And so there's a couple of different ways that you can build workflows if you're using marketing events or not. But if you are using them, there is a new beta which is coming out where you can create this. You can actually import events yourself. So just to show you an example, this isn't available of just creating using lists or anything just yet. I'm sure it will be, but if I wanted to import all the people who registered for my event, all the people who attended, and all the people who potentially cancelled as well, I can add that in, so it essentially sits as its own data within HubSpot. So I'm not going to take you through this import just yet. I personally believe that this kind of importing isn't the best solution right now, but I do believe that if HubSpot are starting to build this now, give it 3-6 months, I believe that this will be a native feature within HubSpot where you can essentially assign lists of people who have registered and attended to be able to use the marketing events tool, and just consolidate, much like you've got the campaigns tool. So first thing that I'm going to do is when it comes to these workflows. So as I said, our very first workflow is going to be a pre-sign up webinar. So we're going to send, we've got an event that we want to run, and then we essentially want to send some emails to it. And so what we can do here is go to our workflows, and because we're inviting individuals, essentially we're going to do a contact-based workflow. And this is where we're going to change, instead of using the standard blank workflow, we're going to choose a specific date. So we're going to choose a specific date of an event. So for example, let's take our webinar next week. We're going to do one on the 17th. So let's use that for our example here. And so so we can start to add, so this is going to set up. And so here, what we've got is this is our delay. So this is going to oops, actually, sorry, I meant to actually not have that particular thing there. So the reason that I've just had to go back and cancel here is it's basically asking us, do we want to delay until the specific date? And like, we actually don't. So what we want to do here, so you can see that this date is centered around the 17th of the 24th. And so we want our first action to be a little bit before that. So we actually want to send out our invitations on, let's say, Monday the 8th. We're gonna start at that. So you can see it's gonna go 9 days before. And then we can actually build this in as, what time of day we want to go. We usually send around 12 o'clock. So we'll choose 12:15 and make it look like it's not automated when it very much is. Um, so um, so I can save that. So essentially we've got the start set up. If you've got a list of people that you want to add, so this is where essentially you can do two things. You can create a list over in your list tool within HubSpot. So if we actually just go over here, you can see our list of, you can come into the CRM side, build a list, use your filters to build who you want that list of people. So for example, we could send an event to all of our prospects. We could send an event to anyone who's in Victoria. We can send an event anyone who's customers. So you can go ahead and build certain lists. And I actually recommend doing that just because it means that you've got that for multiple events. Or you can use the filter criteria. But for example, I'm just going to say whenever anyone has hit our list membership, and we'll just call it all of our customers is a member of this list. And we're going to set that as our enrollment. And so this is when we can essentially, so our workflow is going to go to all of our customers, and on the 9 days before the 17th, so on the 8th, it's going to send, it's going to do our first action, which is where we can then go here and we can add an email. So we can choose send email, and essentially we want it to be the enrolled contact. And then this is where you will get a list of all your automated emails from within HubSpot. I highly recommend not creating your email from within here, just because the design and styling is incredibly limited. So if you haven't created your emails already, which in this case I haven't, so I'm just actually going to save this, and then I'm going to go all the way over to my email tool. And I'm going to create an email. I'm going to do this incredibly quickly. So I'm going to choose automated email this time, which might be different for some. And I'm just going to choose the event invitation template for this. So I'm going to say you're invited. I'm going to put my landing page URL here, or I'm going to use my HubSpot page, which if you're hosted on HubSpot, you can have that. You can change your text. If you haven't already, I highly recommend checking out HubSpot's AI tools to rewrite your invitation, or you can expand your content if you haven't already, so you can insert certain content based off that. Add your details, add your CTA, and then essentially what you're doing, you're going through your normal email setup, but then what you want to do is just add your add your campaign to the online event, to the campaign that you're looking to do. So we can publish, so we can actually review this. Subscription types required. Let's choose our marketing subscription. There we go. Subject line is required. We're going to publish this. So nothing's going to be sent. It's just going to save this for a later time. And so this is where I can go back into my workflow. And then I can choose my email. Now, for the life of me, I don't remember what I called this email. There it is. So I can choose that email. So I know that at 12:15, 9 days before our event, it's going to send this email. And so then what I might want to do is I might want to send a follow-up email. So I can then set a delay. And you can see with this particular workflow, it's then going to ask me when do I want to do it. The event's on the 17th. For this last one, I want to do it 24 hours before. So we're going to do 12 o'clock on the 17th. And so I've set my delay for that. And then I want to send another email. And so I can go choose my email. And again, I can go into my marketing email tool. I can clone this email and just change some of the text, and then call this email number two. But just for this particular example, I'm just going to use this email here, which is an unpublished email. So you can already see that we've now got like our reminders set up. So all of our emails that are going to go out, they're all going to go, and they've already been set to go at a very particular time on the emails. They're all going to that particular landing page and to fill out that form. And so that's essentially our kind of, and if you wanted to do this for every single event, you can just save this as your event template. And then the next time you want to do another webinar, you can go here and you can just hit clone, and you're just going to change the dates, and then you're going to go and change your emails as well. So this is a really great way of just being able to template any particular events that you might run as reoccurring in that sense. So does that sound good for everyone so far as I run quickly? If you've got anything at the moment in the chat, just please feel free to let me know. But one of the big underutilized things about HubSpot that people often don't foresee is goals. So every action that you have is you're trying to make somebody achieve something, and the whole purpose of this particular registration is we want to get people to sign up. So we want people to effectively take action on this landing page. And because, as you saw at the very start of this webinar, I built a form. What I can do here is I can say anybody who filled out this particular form, so I think it was online one that we used, anybody that filled out that form, we essentially want to call that the goal. And then what basically happens here is if somebody, where it comes to, you can see the unenrollment here. So when somebody actually hits this particular goal, they're going to be automatically removed from this workflow. Yeah, so I'm trying to remember where the settings is to show that, but take my word for it that if somebody takes the goal action, it's gonna remove them from this workflow. So you'll also be able to see your percentage of like how many people got enrolled into the workflow. So all of our customers, I think it was 61 on the list, and then essentially how many. So if 20 people registered, then this goal would show it's a 33% goal conversion rate. So that's first of all how you can track how you're going from event to event going forward. But it means that if somebody clicks this email and signs up, I don't want to send them another email asking them to sign up for the second one. So essentially, they're going to be unenrolled from this workflow. It's going to tick them as they took the what we wanted them to do, and they're no longer going to be sent the next email going forward. So that's essentially how we can build workflows to give people the right message and drive them towards particular actions, making sure that we're following up with them. We're making sure that there's no shortage of communications to try and get people in through the door. So we can solve that there. Has anyone got any questions on that for the moment? All good, all good. So going to go back to our next workflow, which essentially now we've got people signing up. So they filled out the landing page and we want to send them an email saying, that they've registered. So again, simple things here is like, once you create this template once, you've got it for life and you can clone it and you can duplicate it. And it's a wonderful, wonderful thing. So essentially here, we're going to choose this one in particular is actually going to be a blank workflow. Because we're going to use essentially our trigger is going to be when somebody takes a particular event. So this is where we can say, has filled out the form submission. And that particular form submission is the form name, and it was online one. So we can then save those actions. So anyone who then fills out that form is going to be enrolled in this workflow. And then what we can do is, once again, we can send them an email. And so we can choose an email to send them and go and build those emails, build what that email looks like. So saying, hey, thanks so much for registering. Here you go. Here's the link to the webinar from that side of things. So there's not really a particular goal that we want people to take. Obviously, we want people to to attend, but The one thing that we also might want to do is we might want to set, okay, they've got that first email as a thanks for signing up. But then what we might want to do is wait for a particular calendar date. So again, the 17th, and maybe we want to do it 1 hour before the particular event. So I believe it was 12 p.m. that we set this up to go. So maybe at 11, we want to send them an email saying, um, here's your, here a reminder, here's your email, here's the link to that particular email. So you can then add that particular email. And again, you're in your marketing emails till you're cloning your emails, you're kind of really chopping and changing very little. But you're just setting these templated emails up. So then all of a sudden you've got this, landing page to you've registered to, that final reminder email. And then what you want to do is, and actually just for if anyone is using Zoom webinars or Eventbrite, this is where you've actually got custom actions in here. So for example, Zoom, you can add your contact to a webinar. So let's call this online one, whatever you've set up within your Zoom account for a particular webinar. If you kind of use that same naming convention, then they're going to be automatically added into your webinar. So it's not that you even have to get them to use the Zoom form. You can actually use a HubSpot form and connect them, add them to Zoom via this workflow. Or alternatively, if you're using the Zoom form, you might want to pass that data from Zoom back into HubSpot. But this is the way that to have a lot less headaches and to have a lot more data, because as we know, if somebody's opening emails, going to the website, their cookies are getting tracked. You can see if somebody's viewed a submission, viewed a form, or actually taken action on the form. So it's all more data that you get at your fingertips. So I'm just going to call this post and sign up. I do realize I'm absolutely rattling through this, but all for good reason. And then our final one here, that what we can do is post event, for example, we can have thanks for attending or sorry we missed you. And so similarly again, I can go in, I can create a contact workflow because it's based on the actual individual. You can, if you want, you can schedule this for a specific date again, if you so wish. So maybe you wanted to do it on the 18th. You wanted to kind of give you and send it for a particular time. So I'm just gonna add this in here. And then our triggers. So if you are actually using Zoom workflows, for example, this is a good place to actually use. Trigger type. So you can actually use webhooks, or for example, this, because this is syncing with your Zoom webinar, this is essentially you can have, okay, has this person attended, or I guess even for this, you can choose anyone who registered, and you'll see the reason why. I would actually recommend you use the ID naming conventions. Sometimes you change the names of things in certain things, but the ID will always remain the same. So whatever that unique ID is within your Zoom webinar, if you're using Zoom webinar, you can add that. For non-Zoom webinar people, you can create a property, and anybody, for example, everybody who's here, Alistair, Kat, I can see a few more faces, Trish. Essentially, Leslie can then go and create a list of all the people who actually attended. And then essentially we've got like a list of, okay, these are all the people who registered, these are all the people who attended. So we can start to do kind of a split action on that. So, and enroll people. So we can do that. So maybe it's that, or we just go anybody who filled out the form, submission online one again. So it's going to pick up either or. But then on this particular date, we're going to have our action. And then what we might want to do is we might want to go, did they actually attend? Because this is going to go to we're going to have two different emails going to everybody who registered. But did they actually attend? And so this is where, for example, we can go based on a single action. And if you're I'll use the sort of the Zoom properties. For example, sorry. Technically, it's actually going to be more. this particular. Sorry, I'm just trying to remember where the property sources for the Zoom ones are. Because I was just pulling the total. So I've forgotten where this is, but essentially you can either choose the let's just go here, filter. Here we go. Zoom. So we can say Zoom webinar attended. And again, we can put that webinar ID, whatever that ID was, for example. And then here we can split all of our audience. So we can say that these people attended and these people, you know, didn't attend, but they did register. So what we're going to have here is a beautiful split where we can send now two different actions based on did they attend or did they split. And this is going to happen on the 18th. So for example, for these guys, we can send an email. And so we can send an email, and just on this example, we can send them an email saying, thank you so much for attending. Now I'm just going to choose a completely different email. Actually, I'm going to go against my golden rule here and pretend to create an email here from within here, which I never recommend doing, but just so that you can see it from here. So thanks for attending. It's going to come from Ed Frame. It's going to come from Ed. It's going to be a marketing email. And then you can see here, for example, I can create that email, and then I've got that email that will go to all the ones who attended, but then I can go ahead and I can create a different email for all the ones who didn't attend, but I still want to be able to send them, sorry we missed you, but here's the link to the recording. So this is how you're able to then get the right message to the right audience through your workflow split like that. So overall, there you've got three. So post attendance. So there you've got three workflows, which now sit inside your portal. They're all set up. If I wanted to save these as templates within my portal, I can go ahead and save these and put them under a folder structure. If I wanted to run another event, I can just go ahead and I can clone this workflow. And then even for example, on this, so for this particular workflow and example, I can clone it. I'll give it a better name. This is where naming conventions come in really well. And then all I'm going to do is essentially update, what that date's going to be. So if we do another one in 2 weeks' time, I'm going to change all my dates to so that it's suited. I'm going to go in here and I'm going to change the Zoom webinar ID, in here and here. And so you can see that for me to go and change to actually build the workflow again is going to take a couple of minutes rather than tens of minutes. And with these emails, I can go in and I can clone those emails in the marketing email side. So you've got this, essentially replicatable system now for running events. And then one of the great things, if we go back into our marketing campaigns, we can start to add these assets into our portal. So for example, let me just add assets. So I can come in here and I can add any workflows that are related to this particular event. Sorry, any emails that are related to this particular event. So I can add those ones. We'll add those. We'll also add those three workflows. Sorry, we'll not use the clone one. We'll add those ones. I can add any lists of okay, these are all the people that attended. These are all the people that didn't. So let's choose that one for example. I can choose any landing pages or website pages that I drove traffic to. Any blog posts that might have been essentially promoting the event, any ad campaigns that I've done after you've connected your tools, any social campaigns that you've done that are related to this event. So essentially here, you can just add all these assets. And then we just refresh this. Once this event is done, you will actually start to see this is the place where you can see the performance. So you'll see is like this campaign influenced this many contacts, because they were invited. How many new contacts did it create? How many website sessions did we get from it? What's the new contacts over a period of time? And then I can compare how all these emails actually performed side by side. Which one's got the best click-through rate? Which one's got the any unsubscribes? Which ones had the best open rates? And you can drill down to, okay, right, did any of these actually attribute any revenue? Especially if you're doing paid events, this is a really good one. So you can start to see, all the insights of how much are they reading your emails? Are they glancing at your emails? What's your deliverability? So this is where the campaign tool itself is, I think, is one of the most underrated tools. I personally believe HubSpot never really did a great job of putting this front and center in front of people. The UX changes of HubSpot have now, the fact that campaigns now sits at the very top here, above everything else. You can add more assets. And if you are somebody who is getting other people to build your events for you, you can start to create tasks for them. So you can kind of start to like, a checklist of all the things that need to be done in order to create that particular workflow. You can add campaign budgets as well. So if you are doing paid ads as well and you want to take a particular budget that you're using for ad spend, for example, or maybe you're doing an offline event and you know that you've got a $10,000 budget, but you want to see how much revenue this is actually driven through your deals pipeline in the future. This is a great way to see. It's like for every campaign we're doing, it's 10K, but we know that it's driving 100K worth of revenue. So, so this is really the kind of the overall for that. And again, all this kind of attribution reporting going forward. So I've absolutely skimmed through that in great in detail. But if there's essentially if you've got any questions on what to do or want to have this kind of set up for your business, come talk to us. The webinar, this will all be available for you to watch. So you'll be able to go back and see anything that might have been done quite quickly. But I just really wanted, this is more not to sort of for you to be able to go away and build everything yourself. This is more just to really highlight how powerful this particular tool is and why to really gather everything into your campaigns tool for any events that you're doing. So so I'm just going to open the floor just before we wrap up. I know we're fresh out of time in one sense, but does anybody have any questions for us that they might want answered?
That was great. Thanks, Ed.
Al, how are you?
Good. Thank you. That was awesome.
Thanks, mate. Thanks, mate. Any questions?
Yeah, no questions from me. Thanks.
All good. All good. Perfect. Brilliant. Any questions from yourself, Al?
No, I think it's one of those things. Once we start to do it, we'll get into the nitty gritty of it. Something will pop up. Yeah,
For sure.
I guess our latest example, which I just did a test as you were presenting, was an in-person one. So I guess we can adapt it to anything. It's just
Exactly. You
yeah.
can. So especially if it's in person, HubSpot forms for registrations, but using QR codes to get people to sign in events, you can actually create a QR code. For example, if I just, decided to, if one of you wanted to scan this QR code and this one here goes to a particular meeting, so I can kind of then see, okay, well, how many people actually, how many people actually, pardon me, registered, attended the event. So by scanning the QR code on entry, and then if there was a particular, we don't run webinars to do like particular, buy now in 10 minutes time. Otherwise you don't get this lucrative offer. That's not what we're about. And that's not why we're doing this. But if you did have something like that, you could then say, okay, well, how many people have actually taken action? And so then you've got your lists of, these are all the people we invited. This is who registered. This is who attended. This is who purchased, in terms of that. So then you've got that beautiful cadence for every time you replicate. If you are using Eventbrite as well, you can connect for your in-person events. Again, just to kind of go back into the hidden place of marketing events. Let's go down here. Yeah, you can integrate. Oops, wrong place. Ah, where's it gone?
Yeah, I did see it earlier. You
I think
can
it's over in the.
integrate.
It was there. I think
Yeah,
it's not now that I'm over here in the settings.
it was like Zoom, Eventbrite, and a few other. Yeah, like 15
Exactly.
others.
So yeah, so you
Yeah.
can effectively integrate Eventbrite, even if you just go into the app marketplace, connect Eventbrite. And then essentially what that allows you to do is if you're using Eventbrite for registrations and tracking attendance and things like that, that data will move in. If you've created contacts, if they've signed up, any contacts that are created in Eventbrite then get pushed into HubSpot, so you can then market to them from later dates and things like that. So it's a great way to build your lead generation for sure. So yeah, that's really everything in its overview. Highly recommend. Yeah, just yeah, like you said, getting in, building it, and saving it for the next time, rinse and repeat. And there's nothing easier to optimize when you just got this pure view of data. And then okay, well, anytime I save because I don't have to recreate everything, I can go and optimize. So it's powerful stuff. Wonderful.
Thanks, Ed. I do have one more question. I don't want
Yeah.
to embarrass you by any means. Did you follow this current event?
No, we didn't actually.
Yeah,
So
because I saw the invite was from adevent.com, and I'm like, oh, maybe you didn't follow the
so
yeah.
reason being is we actually just yeah, so we actually aren't we're on marketing starter for us as a business just because we're small and nimble, and but essentially we know that this is the best practice way. We're not doing enough where we have felt the need to justify the cost, but in about 5 events time we probably will be, and this is exactly how we would do it, and this is how we've built it for other businesses through the use of their portal. So what I've showed you is essentially our staging portal, but we've done no shortage of building webinars and events for our clientele. Yeah, so there you go.
Awesome.
Have
Thanks, Ed.
another recording. So yeah, but all good. Awesome. Brilliant. Okay, well, guys, thanks so much for attending. If you've got any questions, please feel free to reach out, connect with us on LinkedIn. In 1 week's time, actually, sorry, 2 weeks' time, Leslie is going to be running us through lead scoring. So now that you're running events and you've got this list of all these leads who you want to try and nurture to become customers, lead scoring is a great way to be able to then understand who's actually taking actions that you want. So if they are coming to your webinars, if they're coming to your events, how is your nurturing going? Who are some of your hot leads that you can go, actually, we need to get in front of these people and put something together for them because they're hot as and yeah, ask for that sale. So so Leslie's going to be running that in 2 weeks' time, and we look forward to seeing you then. Awesome. See you guys.